Have you ever watched a show like ER or more recently The Pit and thought, wow, this looks so realistic? Well, you're not wrong. The producers behind these shows put in a lot of effort, hiring qualified medical consultants to make sure every detail is spot on. But what if I told you there's a movie that, in my opinion, has one of, if not the most realistic medical scenes I've ever seen? I'm Dr. Sharky, critical care doctor and anesthesiologist, and today we're going to dive into Robocop from 1987, directed by the legendary Paul Verhoeven. Is it wild that a film from the 80s has such a realistic hospital scene? Stick with me till the end, and I'll explain how they pulled it off. Now, if you haven't seen Robocop, it's a gritty, action-packed sci-fi film with a sharp social commentary, and I highly recommend it. Just make sure to skip the 2014 remake. It's not as good as the 1987 original. For those who haven't seen it, the story follows Alex Murphy, a Detroit police officer who is fatally wounded by Red Foreman and his gang, only to be resurrected as the crime-fighting cyborg. It's violent, dark, and a true classic. The scene I'm talking about takes place when Murphy is brought in to the emergency department after being shot multiple times. So let's dive in. Alright, looks like he's pretty messed up. Yeah, so they gotta rush him in really quickly because he's probably suffered some sort of catastrophic hemorrhage from the gunshots. So you can see he's being, they're trying to breathe for him because he looks like he's unconscious. So they got a bag valve mask. Looks a bit old school, but you know, this was set in the 80s. And something else I noticed, they got a bag of fluids, so they're squeezing that through. Nice, they got them all across. Looks pretty realistic, but I think they'd have the bed and the table close together, but I think they just want to get the camera underneath, so that's why there's a gap. It looks pretty dramatic, but kudos to the actors. That's not going to be good for their backs.
Okay. Got a pressure of 60 pounds. All right, we're going to have to intubate this
Okay.
guy.
They're going to intubate him.
Okay, cricoid pressure.
Oh, nice. That's pretty cool. So that's very realistic what they did there. So they got to secure this guy's airway because he's unconscious. He's not breathing, and we got to do the breathing for him. And once you're unconscious, you lose all your reflexes that protect your airway. That stops you from, essentially stops stuff going down the wrong way. Your cough, your gag reflexes, they're all gone. So they need to protect his airway with an endotracheal tube, and that's what they're going to do. And you saw the guy earlier with that sort of jackknife device. It's not a jackknife, it's a laryngoscope, and he opened it up. That's going to open his mouth up. He's got the tube there. You can see that. That's an old school Macintosh.
Other side.
And that tube's in.
Okay, let's go ahead.
That's
and
going
get
to
the
go
mask trousers up.
all the way into his trachea. They're going to connect him up to a
100%
ventilator.
line. Let's get some blood drawn. Type in crossing 6 units.
Oh, that's good. So they're going to prep him for a central line, and they're going to take some blood to prepare him for a blood transfusion. They're going to sample that, make sure they got the correct group, cross match, and they're going to prep him for the central line, like I mentioned earlier. So have you ever noticed the IV drips that you might see on patients in the hospital, where they give IV fluids, medications? A central line is essentially a very big IV line that goes in your neck into your jugular vein, your internal jugular vein, and it's a big drip, and you can give lots of fluids, lots of blood, medications and things like that. Yeah, he's not responding at all. I've got some flashbacks there.
Got a central line in. We're getting pressure back. Normal saline.
That's good. So yeah, they got the central line in. They're going to pressure bag some normal saline in real fast. So they put that saline bag in a pressure bag, which squeezes it through. Some more flashbacks.
What's our blood pressure?
I've got 40 pounds.
So blood pressure's dropping. That's really bad, because that's the last thing to go is your blood pressure. Heart rate goes up.
Flat here. 4 speed fib. Okay, they got to shock him. Let's get bamboo bag.
Patches.
Okay, so coarse VFib is what I heard. So he's essentially gone into a cardiac arrest, where his heart essentially stops beating effectively. It's gone into what we call ventricular fibrillation, and to fix that, you got to shock it. And I know in earlier times they used to show as soon as a patient goes into cardiac arrest, they're going to shock him, but it's only for a specific type of arrhythmia. Oh, that's nasty. So, 2 shocks. Ooh, this is yeah, this is old school. So after every 2 shocks, they're gonna give him epinephrine or adrenaline. In modern days and in modern protocols, we'll just give that through his IV or his central line, but they give it straight to the heart. And if any of you out there remember another scene in a very famous cult classic film, where one of the characters gives another one of the characters a stab in the heart with a massive needle of adrenaline, let me know in the comments below.
Let's quit.
Okay, everybody clear.
They're gonna shock again, and it looks like it's not working. So they're gonna call it.
Alright, I think that's all we can do. Let's call it.
Yeah, they called it.
What's the time?
Okay, so that was pretty gritty, pretty nasty actually. And yeah, they got most things correct there. They probably truncated a lot of the things. The central line takes a bit more time than like the 10 seconds that it took on screen, and a few of the other things as well. They were just truncated, but they got the feel of it, the sort of the environment. When you see a lot of modern dramas, medical dramas, where they're having a sort of a major trauma like this, a cardiac arrest, everybody's shouting, and they're animated. But this scene, they got it down pat. They're relatively calm. You could even say they were bored when you listen to it. They're just going through the motions, because that's what it is. We're trained. You can see that they've done this a million times before. So you don't get that in other medical dramas. You get a lot of excitement, etc. Yeah, it's good for the audience. Now, it's not very accurate though, but this feels like it's real. And I know this is not to compare. I know we said, oh, it's the thumbnail might be a bit of clickbait, but no, we don't want to compare this with modern medical dramas. But I just wanted to point out, this is probably one of the most realistic medical scenes that you're going to see. And I'll tell you why, how they got this scene down so realistically. And the reason is they actually use real medical practitioners. Those are real doctors, ER doctors and nurses and techs. And as far as I know, and that's what my research has told. The filming took place in Texas, I believe Dallas, maybe San Antonio, but they got a real ER team down. And that's the genius behind it. I know it sounds like a cheap cop, but this is one way of doing it. Some of the newer stuff, the newer shows, they'll send these actors to boot camp, but here they actually and got the real people to do it. And it might be an actually easier way. You might as well get some professionals who are willing to act and put them in, and they'll make it as realistic as it's their job. But anyway, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any other movies, TV shows that you think are even more realistic than this, just let me know in the comments, and I might even make a video about it. But anyway, it's been fun, so everybody stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.